This is Python programming for artificial intelligence. In this session, we'll be looking at our first program where we'll be issuing some commands and looking at the outputs. We'll also be looking at variables and the naming conventions used in naming variables in Python programming. And lastly, we'll be looking at the various keywords that have been predefined in Python. Now, just before we move on, I'd like to inform you that this training has been structured in a way that it will take the learner from ground moving up, and we've prepared about 10 videos running for a maximum of 20 minutes where concepts at introductory level to intermediate and later advanced have been factored. And my recommendation to the learner is to follow step by step the playlist and exercise as much as possible just as you progress towards this training. Now, we are going to use Google Colaboratory to run our commands as a start. And Google Colaboratory is a Google platform used to run Python commands. It is online based and relies a lot on internet. That means every time you execute this command, you have to be connected to the internet. Later on, we are going to explore other platforms which can allow us to run commands offline, and that means we'll be able to run our commands from our laptops without really the need of internet connection. So without wasting much time, let us start. Let us go to our browser and type Google Colaboratory. And it's the first item that appears. Click on Google Colab Notebook. And then you can click on File and start a new notebook. Start a new notebook. So as I mentioned, this relies a lot on internet. And it means if you have a slow internet, your execution will be slow. If you have a faster internet, your execution will be faster too. So this is our environment that will be executing our commands. Let us start by renaming it to a relevant name. So I'll name it as Python session 1. Python session 1. And we'll be able to move from here. So let us start coding, and we'll type our first program. And this is print hello world. Now, by executing this, we expect output to give us a statement hello world. And at this point, I'd like to show you a keyboard shortcut to run this. The keyboard shortcut is Shift Enter on the keyboard. So you just press Shift Enter on the keyboard and execution will happen. Otherwise, you can also run it from the runtime function on the top by running all. Now you can see our statement has been processed, and now we have hello world appearing. I'll run another command. This time I'll run I come from Kenya. Shift Enter. And already we are running 2 commands on our Python programming platform. Now, let me explain this. The print is a predefined function in Python which tells the program to call whatever the user has requested. So in the first program, I asked Python to print hello world, and it did exactly that. In the second one, I asked it to print the statement, I come from Kenya, and it did exactly that. I'm going to print another statement, print my name is Stephen, shift, enter, and you can see my program has run. So this is a general syntax. Whenever you're printing, your statements need to be in the middle of the commas, and whenever you're asking for a string, then you need the expression marks. Now let's try something else, and this will be to demonstrate use of variables. So I'll say A is equals to 10, B is equals to 5. Now, when you talk of variables, variables are holding places for values in Python. So in this case, A is a variable that will hold value 10, and B is a variable that will hold value of 5. So let us see if we print A and run it. You can see A is returning 10, and if I print B, this will be returning 5. So A has been assigned a value of 10 and B has been assigned a value of 5. And this is what we refer to as variables. Now, I talked about naming conventions when we are coming out with variables. For instance, if I can come up with country code is equals to 254. And actually, this is a country code for Kenya. So I'll print country code. And run it. Sorry, there was a mistype. It should be a country code. So after running it, you can see it is returning 254. Now, if in case I wanted to have space between the country code, let's see if I was going to have my output. You can see I'm developing a syntax error. It's telling me invalid syntax. So this takes me to the naming conventions, where when we are naming any variable in Python, we do not put spaces between the two words. In case we have to separate them, we can only use an underscore. We can only use an underscore, and you can see after running it, now it will accept. Otherwise, it cannot accept any other in case you want to separate the two. If we put a minus, you can see I'm running it, but it will still give me an error. So the only way it will always accept is an underscore. So I hope that's clear. We move on to the next item, which is the keyword. Python has about 35 keywords, and these are predefined keywords in Python that cannot be used. Python is also case sensitive. It is considered highly intelligent programming language, and therefore, if I was to use print with capital P, let's see if I can get any result. You can see it is giving an error because print is not defined. It means it does not recognize print with capital P. It will only recognize print with small p, and therefore it is something that as a programmer you have to take consideration. Again, the keywords cannot be used as variable names. For instance, true is a keyword. If I say true is equals to 5, it's equals to 2, and then I enter, you can see it's telling me you cannot assign to true. But when you type it small, it will accept. Print true. Something else I would like you to know is that all keywords in Python are small letters, except true, false, and none. Python has about 35 keywords in which I'd like you to familiarize with so as to avoid errors when you attempt to use a keyword. I've also come up with a short exercise which we'll spend the next few minutes in our next session before we can continue with the next topic. And I still recommend all of you to test the skill on what you've learned today, as this will be our norm for the next videos to ensure that you test your skill in whatever you've learned. Otherwise, thank you so much. Hope you've enjoyed the session. Goodbye for now. See you next.